never thought I would be someone who did a tag video without being tagged, but today I'm doing a tag video without being tagged, so deal with it. It's that time of year where YouTubers everywhere are pulling out their cameras to film Nariman's YouTube survey. It's like a big deal on the internet. I am rather late in doing this because most people do it in like September. It's October. You know. It's better late than never, right? Right? So without further ado, let's get down into the questions. Number 1. What's your biggest fear? My biggest fear, that's like a thing that you can like physically touch and whatever and see and whatever, are birds. I hate birds so much. Oh my god. I know what you're thinking. What? How are you afraid of birds? What's so scary about birds? It's not like the whole thing where, oh my god, they can peck your eyes out. Birds are so terrifying. It's the thing where they have tongues, which means at any given moment they totally have the ability to land on you and like lick you, and I just can't. Just imagine that. I hate birds. I hate them. I hate them so much. And then my like existential crisis kind of a fear is like death and not being good enough and dying alone and all of those things, you know, that are so fun to think about. Yeah. Number 2. How did you find out Santa isn't real? My parents never really told me. I guess you just kind of figure it out at a certain point where you're like, hey, that doesn't make sense. My childhood is a lie, and Christmas is a lie. What's the point to anything? I'm not bitter at all. Number 3. What's the best idea you've ever had? I don't think I have very good ideas, but recently I was talking to my friend Ivan and we came up with this plan for a book where I would write how to be successful without really trying, and it would be a New York Times bestseller and I would get rich. So that's the best idea I've ever had. It says a lot about me. Number 4. What's the most embarrassing thing your parents have ever done? I don't know what the most embarrassing thing they've ever done is because they do a lot of embarrassing things, but I do know like the most recent and memorable one was I was on a cruise a few months ago to the Caribbean, I think, or somewhere. I don't know, that's not important. And I was with my friend Ryan, who I've known since I was like born, and our families always go on cruises together. And we were walking with this group of kids who we kind of wanted to befriend, and you know, they were like the cool kids, and like, ooh, we had to look good in front of them and like make a good impression so that they would like us and whatever. And so we were walking by this like adult club thing, and it had like windows, like the walls were all windows all around it, and my dad was in the window and he saw me and started waving like crazy, and I was like, oh my god. And then he started dancing like oh my god. And then I was like, oh my god, this is embarrassing. So I like started walking faster and he started knocking on the window. And so they like looked and Ryan was like, oh my god, isn't that your dad? And he was like dancing in the window and everyone saw him and they were like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. And I was like, I know, I'm well aware of what's happening right now. But the funny thing was Ryan was like, oh my god, that's your dad. And then his parents ended up walking up behind my dad and started dancing in the window as well. And I'm like, oh my god, that's your parents. Haha, karma. Yeah. Number 5. If you were only allowed to pick one career for the rest of your life, what would it be? That's hard, that's difficult. If I could do anything, I would probably want to be like a writer of sorts, not just like a novelist or whatever, but I could write like anything. Like I could write films, I could write blog posts, magazine articles, novels, like anything of that sort. I think that would be cool. Or I would want to be like a photographer. That's pretty cool too. But so yeah, a writer or a photographer. One of the two. And that's the end of the survey. I hope you like learned something about me. Whatever the point of this was, to like get to know me in YouTube survey 2013. I did it. I'm happy with myself for doing this. I never do YouTube surveys. I'm gonna go. I will see you later.